Hi students, we're on 8.3 part 2, which again is special right triangles, and these are right triangles that get a special ratio because they're so special. Because their parents told them they were special. Because everybody is special. Did you guys know that? I know that's kind of like a joke, but you guys are all really special. Like, really special. It's really amazing to be your teacher. Thanks for letting me be your teacher. Alright, sorry, sappy. Alright, today's special right triangle is going to be the 45, 45, 90. Alright, so go ahead and get that, and then you're going to glue in our glue-in. Maybe put a couple lines down because I don't know, cut that a little short. Today's glue-in is a little bit shorter because today with the 45, 45, 90, it's a little bit crazy. Just kidding, it's not crazy. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get that glued in. And then as we work today, I'm going to use 2 colored pencils. I'm going to use orange and blue. So if you'd like to use the same colors, you can. I'm going to use orange for my hypotenuse, just like I did yesterday, and blue for my legs. Just 2 today. Alright, so if you haven't gotten that glued in yet, go ahead and pause that video before you hit play. Alright, we're going to start by labeling our right triangle up here. So we have our 90-degree angle. So across from that 90-degree angle, we have the hypotenuse. So remember, across means like the one not touching it, the one that isn't connected. So our hypotenuse, and then we have our leg, and we have our leg. Now today we're working with 45, 45, 90. So we have 90 degrees, and we know that one angle is 45 degrees. And again, remember, a triangle always has to add up to 180. So if I do 180 minus my 90, and I know one angle is 45, that means my last angle has to be 45. So this one is also 45 degrees. Okay, which means that they are congruent. We had a special word for triangles that had 2 congruent angles. So our types of triangles we had was scalene, isosceles, and equilateral. Which one of those 3 had 2 congruent angles? You're right. It's like Dora the Explorer here. You're right. It's it's isosceles. Alright, so because they're the same angle, we know that these legs, the sides across from the angles, the ones not touching them, are congruent. So this one, across from this 45, would be congruent to that one. So we label these ones our x's. So this is x and x. Because we know it's isosceles, we know that they are the same. I'm going to use blue today for that. Alright, and then using our Pythagorean theorem, we know that our hypotenuse will end up being x square root of 2. Okay, so a little different pattern than before, because in the 30, 60, 90, remember it was 30 times 2 is 60, 30 times 3 is 90. This time it's 45 and 45, and then 45 times 2 is 90. So it creates this really special relationship here. Alright, here we go with our examples. Okay, so our first step is to label our sides. Step 1. Alright, I always like to start with my hypotenuse because my hypotenuse is always across from that 90. And today I know the hypotenuse is x square root of 2. And our legs are the other 2. And our legs are congruent today. So this side is x, and this side is x. These are congruent because our angles are congruent. Woohoo! How exciting. Crushing it. Alright, so since we know x is 2, That's what we're going to say is x is 2. That's step number 2. X is 2. Done. All right, step number 3 is to find hypotenuse. All right, and our hypotenuse is x square root of 2, so our x is 2, so we're going to do 2 times the square root of 2. And again, today we're just going to work with decimals. So even though you might have some teachers that eventually want you to keep it like that, today I just want you to type that in your calculator, call it good. 2 square root of 2 is 2.82. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth, so 2 decimal places. After the 82 is an 8. That tells me to round up to 83. So 2 and 83 hundredths. Okay. So I know my sides are 2. That's my leg. My other leg is the same, 2. And then my hypotenuse is 2 square root of 2, which was 2.83, which should be the longest side. And it is. And those are my 3 sides. Okay, one more. All right, so first step is to, guess what? Label your sides. Nice work. All right, so here's our 45-degree angle. So our other 45-degree angles down here, we can mark them congruent, or we could write 45 degrees. Our hypotenuse is across from that 90-degree angle. Okay, so here's my 90. I go across. I don't want to touch it. I want the side that isn't touching this, that little boxy thing. This one won't touch that box thing. The legs do touch the box thing, the 90-degree angle. Okay, so I go back up to my formulas here just to make sure I have it right. My hypotenuse is that x square root of 2. And then here, our legs are x and x. Okay, they're congruent, so we can mark them congruent if we wanted to. All right, so we have our sides labeled, our whole triangle's labeled. So step number 2 is going to be to find x. In the last problem, we knew x right away. X was 2, so we could just use that to find that. In this one, we don't know our x. We know that 3 is x squared root of 2. So remember, this is multiply. So to undo multiply, so I'm going to write x square root of 2 equals 3. That's kind of what we're thinking. But to undo that multiplying, we're going to do division. So I can really take 3 and divide by the square root of 2. And I'm going to use that handy-dandy calculator. 3 divided by square root of 2. And we get 2.12. And then that next number is 1, so we're going to stay at 1, 2, 12. 2 and 12 hundredths. And that is our x. So all we had to do there was, we know that this is x squared root of 2. To get that, we just multiply by square root of 2 to go from leg to hypotenuse. To undo that, to undo multiply, we divide. Right. So our final answer here for the 3 sides are 2 and 12 hundredths. That was our x, and there's 2 of them, so we're going to label that again. 2 and 12 hundredths. And then our last side is 3. All right, your practice is on Schoology. And then tomorrow we have a mid-chapter review. Nice work.